No, it looks super professional.
I know. Guess what? We are live. Hey guys.
Woo!
All right, let me take this down so we can see you guys. We're going to talk about something today. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm here with Emma Lyons. My name is Allegra Jackson, the marketing medulla, and I'm a business coach. I'm also a marketing strategist. I love numbers. So you will find me in the analytical space a lot of times with my clients looking at data. But I work with women entrepreneurs to make sure that they are clarifying their vision for their business and their life. When it comes to their business goals, I also make sure that they're decluttering all of that mess behind the scenes and also making sure you're building generational wealth without overwhelm. I have Emma here who is amazing at making sure that you get your mindset together around all of these things called trauma. And we know that this is things that, it doesn't just start with the business, right? It starts when we are in a space deciding on going to the next level, which business, that's exactly what that is. So today we're going to be talking to women who work 9 to 5s and want to start a business. We'll be here for a few minutes to answer your questions and also to give you ways to connect with us. Emma, I will go ahead and pass you the mic.
Way, we are sounding good over there on Facebook, so I'm happy about that. Hi, everyone. My name is Emma Lyons, and I'm so happy to be here with Allegra Jackson, the amazing Allegra Jackson. And the work that I do is so works so well with what Allegra does because I work with women who are starting a business and have to make are in a 9 to 5 and want to make that leap, and also women in business who are struggling with their mindset or blocks or barriers they have to really taking off and really going into that flow that we all love. So I help women release all the shame, all the icky stuff that holds us back from really thriving, doing the thing that we're here to do, and sharing your gifts with the world. So it's going to be a really cool conversation. Stick around if this is you. If you are in a job and you have this vision of something better, of starting your own business, this conversation is going to be for you. And it's going to be full of really amazing information and strategies, things you can do to really expand your consciousness. Because we were talking about this last week as well, but the sound was really bad. But you need a very, very different mindset and energy around you to have a business and actually succeed at that than you do to succeed in a 9 to 5. In a 9 to 5, it's like pretty straightforward. You're not taking all the responsibility. There's a whole lot, especially if you're selling your own stuff or you're making something that you're selling. It involves next level self-awareness, self-trust, confidence that's you can't even compare to someone who's working 9 to 5 for someone else and selling someone else's stuff. So it's a totally different skill set and energetic frequency that you need to get on. So really excited to get into this conversation. And I'll pass the mic back to Allegra.
Yes, thank you, Emma. Yo, this is amazing because first of all, I am so, and please make sure you drop your questions and your hearts. This conversation is for those of you who are, really in that decision phase, or maybe you started the business and you're not sure exactly which direction you're growing in. I recommend always starting with the mind, right? So what Emma does is so important, wrapping your mind around what happens when you transition. We talked about the areas of fight, flight, freeze, fawn, right? And if you don't understand what that looks like, then you'll just you'll just miss it, right? So we talk about what that actually looks like. And it's very interesting because we wanted to bring up a story, right? And we call this person Jordan. Jordan is the bomb. She's amazing. She's this inspiring entrepreneur, right? And if you think about women who are out here, we are really, really doing amazing things in business. I talk to women every single day, guys. And the things that I hear around what these women are doing, first of all, let me try my applause, y'all. Okay? Because women are doing amazing things. And I don't know if we are adequately bringing ourselves to a place of ascension within our own selves, right? Like, because we go through so much in life and take on this narcissistic voice. Emma will explain what that looks like. And it gets in the way. And so Jordan, she's one example, and she works this steady 9 to 5 job, y'all, corporate. Okay. And a lot of us have come from corporate, myself included. And she's reliable on the outside, right? She's dependable. She's doing really, really well. But some of the areas in her life, she's thinking about starting that business, right? Secretly, she's thinking about it. She's not telling anyone. She's not out there like, hey, guys, do you have any resources? I'm really looking to get myself off the ground. Every time she actually takes a step towards that dream, right? What happens is that trauma matrix starts to show up. And one of the areas it shows up in, guys, is like, some of the areas it says like Jordan often stays late at her job. So I've done that so many times. And so trying to carry out those business ideas, and, she's like over preparing, right? And she's obsessing over like the perfect branding, the right website font, the researching hours before posting even one single social media post. And so the reality of that, guys, is that there's a perfectionism. It says it comes in the way. And so we think that we have to have it perfect in order to feel worthy of actually doing it, right? So Jordan actually believes that if everything is flawless, then no one will criticize her. So she avoids actually pushing the button, moving forward, because it's not perfect. What do you say about that? Because there's a lot of Jordans out here, guys. And we lost Emma. We're going to get her back. But there's a lot of Jordans out here. I can relate to this. And, maybe you can relate to it too. But that first area, and I'll say it because Emma will come back and explain, that's the fight response. Okay. And that's the response that says, I have to prove myself to someone. Like, and I don't know if you ever felt this way, but I've had these notions in my own life where I'm like, oh God, like, I feel like I need to have everything perfect. I feel like it has to look a certain way in order for me to do it. And even if I'm not actually saying that out loud, there's something like a nudge inside of me that still makes me feel like, okay, I can't launch the website yet because I have to make sure I double check and make sure all the words are correct and make sure that the colors are right, make sure everything is perfectly in alignment. So those are some areas. So, we're talking about that fight response, having to prove yourself to people. And the truth is that we don't have to have it perfect. We don't have to prove anything to anyone. That's just, a false narrative. Emma, I'm going over that first fight response, which is trying to really be perfect at everything before you even do the thing itself. So I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, I was just frozen there for a second, so I had to sort that out. This perfectionism, people think that it's kind of, especially women are more perfectionistic than men. And I'll tell you, people are actually proud of being perfectionists. They think it's a great thing. What's your biggest flaw? And people think it's kind of it's a humble brag. But really, perfectionism, guys, I have to tell you a secret. Perfectionism is actually shame, right? I know that dirty word, that's exactly what it is. It's shame in wearing high heels and a mink fur coat, but it is just shame, because if you're out there and proud and just being you and doing your best, you do not need to be perfect. If you are striving to be perfect, you are on some level shaming yourself. You're like, oh, I've got to be perfect. I got to push myself to look like this, to look like that, to please. It's kind of people pleasing. You're trying to please other people, and the driver for that is shame. So if you think about it, shame is really glorified in our culture. But if you think about when you shame yourself, it might temporarily make you push a little bit harder, but it always is super toxic, guys. It's never, ever good for you, because shame makes you shrink. It physically, if you think about the feeling of shame, it makes you like contract and become small. And we want to grow our business. We want to be doing the opposite. We want to be expanding, putting ourselves out there and making mistakes, messing up. That's all part of it. And if we're carrying all this shame, we're going to be hiding. We're going to be really inauthentic. We're going to be kind of one of those fake people out there. And if you're carrying a lot of shame, the other thing about people that carry a lot of shame if you're carrying such a low vibration, it's not a very happy, you cannot be happy and fulfilled if you're carrying a lot of shame. And we want to move out of that perfectionist place, and just where you will abandon this whole idea of being perfect and just be you. Just be yourself, just kind of do your best, put yourself out there, because that is actually what people are looking for. Nobody's looking for some perfect, picture perfect AI thing that doesn't put a foot wrong. That's not human. You show up as you, and people resonate with your vibe. If you're out there like pretending to be something you're not and trying to be all perfect about things, people can feel that there's something kind of off about you. And especially if you're selling a service or something that you do yourself, people are kind of put off with that. There's something inauthentic about that person. So the more you show up as you and show up, without shame, shamelessly. I know shameless has a really bad connotation in the English language, but if you show up without shame and you just be you, be authentic, be magnetic, people are really drawn to that. So that's what we want. We want to move away from perfectionism, which is fakery, which is BS, and just be you. People are craving authenticity. What do you think, Allegra? Are you on the same page?
Absolutely. And, we're going to leave soon, guys. I want to make sure that you get an opportunity to remove this narrative. And you're right, Emma. I think, that's exactly what came up was, how do we feel about the word shame? How do we feel about, and this is a very sensory thing. I was actually having a conversation with someone and they said, that really bothers me when they say that. And I said, well, why does it bother you? And we went down the line and found out that, in hindsight, yes, it would bother a person if they had traumatic experience with it before, but it doesn't necessarily have to bother you moving forward, right? Some things in our life have created trauma around our experiences, and we have taken that responsibility to say, every time that happens to me, now I'm going to relive that feeling of someone, telling me I can't, or telling me, it's not good enough. And this Jordan is a perfect example of perfectionist. This is some of the things that I talk to my clients about, where that if you just push the button, if you just do the thing, you will find that on the other side of it, right, you're going to get exactly what you want. But it takes getting out of our way to actually take the action. And our minds, right? Our minds are so powerful. Our minds will actually trick ourselves to say, oh, it's not your mind, right? Like, I hear it all the time. I don't need therapy. And it's like, of course you do. But we're, our brains are protecting us. And so I love this conversation, Emma. We're going to talk a little bit more about Jordan next week when we come back, guys. And Jordan is our prime example of a woman who is I'm talking about dependable, reliable, someone who gets the work done. But then when it comes to the business, right, there are all these roadblocks, all these blocks that come in, and it's confusing because she's like, what is going on? I do so well for my corporate job, but in my business, so we're going to break that down, because this is how we, help individuals work through some of their areas of transformation, because this is mindset first, but then it's action next. Okay. Emma, tell them how to reach out to you if they need that support. And I will also drop some links in the chat for you guys.
Yeah, so hit me up with a DM and let me know. Reach out to me. My inbox is open. So reach out to me if this is you, if you're resonating with this, if you've got perfectionism going on and you know that you have everything that it takes to be successful in your business that you want to start, but you feel this panic, this fear, this perfectionism, this shame that's holding you back from taking that leap, like Jordan, even though you've all the skills. And I know exactly how that feels. I tell you, you're not alone, and it can be resolved, but it just takes, releasing what those triggers are. These are usually things that we've learned as children. We've, especially women, we learn to perform, and Jordan, she learned to perform, to please, to be perfect, to keep the parents happy, to keep everyone happy, to tap dance for everyone else. And then when it comes up to showing up for yourself, she self-abandons, and this is what so many women do. This is why it's so important. It is time for you to get your gifts out there. You are the answer to someone's prayers, what it is that you're offering, your service, your system, your art, whatever it is. Someone is praying for what you've got, and you've you gotta get it out there. Not just for you. This is for the people who are praying for what you've got to give. Only you can give them that, and you just got to get out of your own way. And it's strategy, all of those things, really important. Allegra will tell you that. But without the mindset, without your nervous system on board, doesn't matter how great the strategies or systems or your coaches that telling you exactly what to do, you're not going to do it. You're going to sabotage it. You're going to mess it up. You're going to try and striving and not quite get there, because your nervous system, your mind is like, it is just not safe to go into that, get into that place. So your body, your mind holds you back. And this is, they talk about, if you've heard of 80-20, I believe it's 80% this and 20% the strategy. It's about really, because once you've got aligned, you find the system, you find the right people to help you. But the other way around, people can be spinning their wheels for years. So that's my thoughts on it. Drop this in my DM, send me a message. I actually have a workshop coming up next week on Thursday. So you get to experience my work. There's going to be a live healing there. So get in my DMs and ask me about that. It's about breaking the cycle of trauma. So I'm excited to see you there. And I will pass it back to the boss, Allegra. Over to you.
Yes, thank you, Emma. And I know you have to go, so go ahead. I'm gonna drop you down. You guys make sure you reach out, right? Because the truth is that first step that you're taking is the best, easiest step that you can take in your life, because most of the time it doesn't require money. It doesn't require you taking this big leap of faith. It's just sometimes just a DM, a comment, a phone call, and just making sure you're getting into the space where, even if it's a baby step, right? It gives you a little bit more confidence. Okay. So we want to support you with your confidence journey. I'm going to also be having a conference, guys, next year. And this is something that I want to express too, because at the end of the day, we are empowering generations of women across the world. And one thing about this conference is called Women Empowering Generations. Hence, what I've experienced that Emma was speaking about is that a lot of women want to speak on stages and talk about their businesses and get themselves out there. And we're talking to women of all generations to make sure that we see how we can get all in the same room and how we can support each other in that. And this means that if you are, working on your 9-to-5 and you're getting a space where you want to be empowered, you need to be in community, because we are empowering each other in all generations, and women are at the forefront of business. Okay. So guys, stay tuned. Don't miss out on opportunities. Tomorrow morning, we have the speakers call for all of the women who already said they want to come join us next year. And so this is one thing that I want to say, that for the power of community and the power for women who are in a 9-to-5, want to start a business, really wanting to get out there, you guys have to make moves and get into community so you can have opportunities like that. Okay. We will see you guys next week. Thank you again, Emma, for joining me, and you guys have an amazing weekend. Bye.